Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be building some Kikimoras, and as you can see here I have 66 of the BPCs. So one of the things I really like about the Triglavian ships, especially the smaller ones, is that I can build these in jitter and the installation cost is pretty much next to nothing. Obviously as you go up in ship size, if you do get to the battleship size, then obviously yes, it will cost you a little bit more. You're looking at 20 to 30 million, I think, if that is correct, if you are installing them in jitter. But for the smaller ships, it's literally tens of thousands at the very most. And this is obviously great because, again, you don't have to do any hauling, I don't have to move materials, I don't have to risk anything. I can literally sit right where I am and build exactly where we are. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I am a big fan of the Triglavian ships, and especially the fact that you can build them quite happily in jitter. And the reason for that is it doesn't cost you a great deal for the installation cost. Now obviously as you start going up ship size, this is destroyer obviously, but if you get to battleship, I think the installation cost is 20 to 30 million, which is still pretty okay. Now the Shrek is slightly different because obviously it uses quite a lot of minerals, and that's where a lot of the installation costs come from. But the other Triglavian ships don't cost all that much as long as you're not going Tech 2. So the installation cost is great. I can build it in jitter, I don't have to move or haul anything, and that is obviously a very big bonus. And some of you may recall I have done Kikimoras in the past. However, this video is about to take a weird and random turn here, because if I click to install, we're looking at 39 million ISK, including or excluding the BPC. And that is because crystalline isogen 10 has spiked quite considerably, and 0 point condensate is up almost 10%. So if we have a look here at the market, there is a lot of activity, as you can see here. There's around 10-15 orders here in the last hour, so people are fighting over trying to get their stuff sold at this amount. And so say if we go, we're at 80% increase, and you can see on the market graph here that there has been a sudden buyout, and that's because basically less people are generally running, and there is the general thought that the price of the Triglavian minerals is about to slowly start rising. Well, that slowly isn't slowly anymore. So this has given me a bit of a quandary here, because ordinarily I could just sell the crystalline isogen that I have. Now, as it currently stands, I've got 13,000 units. Yeah, 13,000, and at the moment we are estimating 668, so pretty much double that. So we're looking at 1.2 billion ISK if I can sell it on the market at its current sell value. But as we can see here, that there are people jostling, and to be fair, I always say that once something spikes, the vast majority of the time you have missed the boat. So if I already had it on the market and the market was still playing around, but due to the sheer volume of orders that's here, I'm going to be playing with this all night, and basically probably end up losing more on broker fees than I'm actually going to make selling it. So I am going to actually produce the ships from it. And the nice thing potentially about putting it into the ship is if it does stay roughly at its current high, or if it continues to increase, then the price of the Kikimora will increase sooner or later in response to the sudden change in minerals. So if this drops down by 50%, you see we've got another order in there, so it is dropping incredibly quickly at the moment as people jostle to get rid of it. But if I put it into the ship, then so say if it drops, then I'll be able to sell the ship at what I would have been able, or what I did buy this at, or the market average. And if it continues to go up, prices will sooner or later reflect that in the ship market. So if I turn it into a ship here, it's kind of win-win. Now obviously I wouldn't be, if I didn't already have this, I wouldn't be buying it in order to make the ship, due to the fact that it spikes so heavily, and that would eat into the profit massively. Now with already having this, I'm quite willing to take the risk here that, as we've just discussed, that if it goes down, then I don't lose anything, and if it goes up, then win-win, where I don't have to fight trying to sell it on the market. Because again, if you check the buy orders here, the buy orders aren't reflecting the sudden increase. Now if this was starting to go up, then potentially I could just set it to a buy order, make the ISK there, wait for it to come back down, do some interesting bits and bobs and try and make the ISK back. But as it currently stands, we're going to turn this basically into ships. So let's quickly run the numbers as it currently stands in Jitter at the moment, or on contracts. You can pick a Kikimora up for 10 million ISK. This is quite low by almost 4 million, but we'll go with it. So we've got the 10 million for the BPC, and we will take the average price for the crystalline, which is what, 66,000? 4% below. So yeah, we'll go for 66,000. So let's pull up the calculator. 3 times 66. 15 million is, so take 10 million off that. So we've got the current buy price at 38 million minus the 10 million. So it should be 28 mil to build. Obviously then plus the 10 mil for the BPC. And we are coming out at 38 million ISK. They are currently selling for 43 million ISK. So we are going to make a profit there of 43, 5 million ISK. But we're selling it for 43, so minus the tax is 2.3 mil. So I'll make 2.5 million per Kikimora at the current prices, and I have, what, 66 of them, so it's 165 million ISK. So I actually paid 7.5 million ISK per Kikimora BPC here. However, I don't take the extra 2.5 million into account when building, because again, that extra 2.5 million that I'm making from getting cheaper BPCs isn't reflected in the actual manufacturing cost. And this is the important part. I am not adding, by producing the Kikimora, no matter what price I got the BPC for, you need to make sure that you are adding value by actually manufacturing. So I'm not going to take the extra, or the extra ISK that I make into the manufacturing total, although I will be making 5 million ISK per unit. And again, the reason is because I'm not making that extra 5 million. I'm only making 2.5 million from the actual manufacturing process. It's the manufacturing part of doing this is where I'm adding the value. It's what is making the increase in from being able to buy it or sell it on the market, from buying the minerals to be able to produce the end product. And again, as we worked out, that was 2.5 million. So it's important to differentiate between the parts of what is making you the ISK, where you are adding value by doing something. Because as it currently stands, I can sell these BPCs for between 10 and 14 million ISK. Now, at the top end there at 14 million, I'm technically not making a profit. So I'm actually better off just selling the BPCs as it is, because obviously I got them, so they're selling for 14, I got them for 7.5, so I'm making 6.5 million ISK there, times 66, so I'd actually be making 429 million ISK. So that's the important part. If you are not adding value to something, is it worth doing? Now, the chances of me selling 66 blueprints for the 14 million ISK is relatively slim, and it's easier and quicker to sell them actually in a ship. But as I said, I am not going to count the extra 2.5 million there in my overall calculations of how much I'm actually making, or that I'm making from manufacturing, because the fact that I got these cheaper has nothing to do with the fact that I'm about to manufacture them. And I see lots of weird and wonderful comments of people saying, well, you should do the whole process. You know, for Tech 2, for instance, you should start with the moon minerals, and then you should produce the Tech 2 components yourself, and you should do this yourself and that. Just because you can start from the very beginning and end up with an item that is profitable at the end, you need to make sure that you are adding value at every step of the process. Because if you're not, then why are you actually doing it? You may as well just buy the minerals or the moon goo or the Tech 2 components at the point of where they are. There's no point in spending 4 days manufacturing from moon goo to get to your Tech 2 component. If it's as cheap just to buy the Tech 2 component to start off with, you're not actually saving anything. And obviously the argument is that you can obviously get a lot of your stuff from buy orders, and obviously that makes it cheaper, which is correct. But this then becomes trading profit, not manufacturing profit. You are making the money from actually trading, not manufacturing. And again, it's a subtle point, but it is very, very different, and it's very important to see where or what part of it you're actually adding value, because as we just discussed, there's no point in spending 4 days if you're not actually adding anything to it, and you could have just bought the components themselves. So again, with this, I'm going to do or build the Kikimoras because it will be hard to shift this many BPCs over the course of several days, where it's much easier to shift the actual ships themselves because they sell in such mass. We're selling 250 a day, so that is the reason I'm going to turn these. But you know, again, to bang on, I will not be including them in the manufacturing profit. It is extra profit, but again, I won't. It's not included in the overall of what I'm manufacturing. So 2.5 times 66 is 165 million ISK that I will make from the actual manufacturing. So I've got these installed. They only take an hour to build. I'll get some on some of my alts, etc., and I'll get these built for the morning. So I hope that was useful, helpful, and interesting. And yeah, drop a comment, etc., and I'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks for your time.